Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Yeah, I didn't get to see you guys before, but grateful for you. Yeah, we have a good time. Having a good time eating and just celebrating, just being thankful, family in town and stuff like that, and close friends. And so, yeah, it was a good time. You guys remember Charlie Martin? Yeah, he came over, him and his family, so we're really close. So it was a good time.
Kind of big picture, just what does this offense need to do to get? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about third down and everything else, but just to get back to where you guys should be.
I think what our offense needs to do is forget about the past. Stay focused on the present. Stay focused on what we're doing right now. I mean, all the talk, all this and that. We got great players. We got a great line. We got great playmakers. We got a great play caller in Shane. We got a pretty decent quarterback. So we can make plays. So. We don't have to do anything else but forget about the past and just stay focused on the moment. And we get to go on the road, a tough environment in Washington. Looking forward to it. It'll be my birthday too, so that'll be fun. And then just go play ball. This game is a gift. It's a gift, and we can't let all the distractions and everything else be a hindrance to the gift. And so I think that's where our focus is right now.
I think a lot of times when the offense hasn't performed to expectation, you've cited tempo as something you need to do more of. Why is that such a thing that you think can change the fortunes of the offense?
Yeah, I think getting in a rhythm. I think everything's about rhythm in this game. Offense is all about rhythm, catching that rhythm, staying on track, not having any mistakes. In the last game, we were moving the ball well, and we had a couple of mistakes, So eliminating those, that allows us to stay in that rhythm and make plays. And I think that's the biggest thing for us, staying in those, short to medium distances. And then when we get to those third downs, just staying focused on that third down. Don't worry about anything else. Just convert that one, however we have to. And so I think that's, from scrambling to finding a guy to running it or whatever it may be, making a play. It's going to be contested, and we're going to make them, and we're going. That's our plan.
When it's not like a traditional hurry-up situation, just middle of the first quarter, say, do you have the latitude to, if you notice something, say, hey, let's go hurry up here? Or is that something that's talked about on the sideline this series before?
I think it's a mixture. I think that some of it happens as just feeling the game after a big moment or a certain play or just the energy of it. Maybe they're substituting or something like that. But I think the biggest thing is trying to find those moments where we can get into it. I think the biggest part of that is just, like I said, I think about the last game. I think about the games earlier on when I was playing, early in the season. We had a couple, 3-play drives because it's a mistake or something happens, and it's, shoot, now we may be wanting to get into something, but or get to a certain play or whatever, but unfortunately something gets in the way of that. So once again, I think the best thing we can do is stay focused on right now. There is no waiting, there is no other time. It's right here, right now. I love these kind of moments. I like the pressure. We like it, and we look forward to it. And that's what this game's about. There's still a great chance, and so we have to make sure that we take every moment, and really understand it's a great opportunity.
Coach mentioned simplifying things in the offense a little bit in practice on Wednesday. He mentioned that. Is that something you've noticed, or you think will help come game time, or how does that manifest itself during practice?
In terms of simplifying things, I don't think we're necessarily simplifying the plays. I think just, I think the biggest thing is, without saying too much, I think the biggest thing is just, being efficient as possible, and just, making sure that we're being, efficient and effective, whatever that means. And hopefully, as we play throughout this week and the weeks to come, hopefully that shows up. I think that like I said, I know who we are. I think I go back to the, one of the best moments when we played at the Colts, and just the energy, the everybody was touching the football, everybody was making plays. That's who we are. That's who we are. We haven't seen it in a couple weeks or a few weeks or several weeks, but the good thing is it's there. And we've got the same guys, and nobody's left us. We've gotten a little bit better. We've gotten to know each other a little bit more. I think too as well. I think Shane has been great in terms of the process. Not everything always when when it's a new system. Not everything is just spot on every second with the players and this and that in terms of us executing it. So we got to be better on our end to make sure we execute every little detail. He's been coaching his butt off every day. With no hesitation, just great confidence. And so that's what we're relying on. We're relying on our confidence as players, who we are as our leaders and everything else, but also to a great play caller in Shane. We know what we have.
What's your relationship with Jody Allen, and how often do you talk to her, or have you talked to her?
Yeah, I mean, I know Jody pretty well. You know, we've gotten to talk a few times. You know, obviously she's super busy. I'm pretty busy, so I don't talk every day or anything like that. But yeah, she's great. She's obviously supports our football team and wanting to win and trying to find everything we can do. So yeah, she's super enthusiastic about the Seattle Seahawks. I love it.
In that Colts game, there was a lot of like pre-snap motion. You know, the play just looked a little bit more diverse. Like you said, more guys touching the ball. Why, if you got the numbers would suggest you guys have gone away from that since then. What do you attribute that to?
Like I said, I think right now, I think I think that it's been a process of us making sure that we don't have any little mistakes along the way, because I think that gets you off a little bit, Mike. And I think the best thing that we can do moving forward is eliminate that stuff, because when you get to go to these last 7 games here, it's great matchups, great opportunities. This one this week, these guys have been playing great football the past several weeks and stuff like that, especially the past 2. And so, like I said, you got to limit those mistakes, pre-snap or whatever it may be. So I think the best thing we can do is stay focused on the moment, stay focused on, us executing. And so we do a great job at it, every day in practice, and now we got to translate to the field.
Seen Gerald Everett getting pretty involved the last couple games. What have you seen out of him lately? What's he bring?
Yeah, I mean, Gerald's been exceptional. Every time he touches the football, it's something great. He's really spectacular. He's hard to tackle. Knows how to get first downs, make plays. Obviously, Tyler Lockett is really amazing out there too. DK, Will Disley getting the football is important, I think, too, as well, because he's hard to tackle. Once again, going back to that Colts game, he's hard to tackle. In some plays. I think our running backs have stepped up. I thought, AC has done a great job, but really you saw DJ Dallas too step in and show out the other day, which was really exciting, because he sits right here in the front, right next to you, Mike, right there in the front. He sits right there, and he just works his butt off every day. And so those are the things that give me confidence every day in who we are and what we are. And you see guys fighting for their chance and taking notes every morning and being ready and being prepared and having great enthusiasm and just believing and having the right language and staying neutral along the way. And that's what fires me up as a player, and then also I think connects everybody else together. So we're really excited about the opportunity of what we can do.
You look back a couple of weeks now, does it feel more normal than it did 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, every day I get better. It's been a blessing just to go through the journey. For me to be able to get clear in 4 weeks was a miracle in itself, in a way, just to be able to fight through all that and play that, and play with everything. And then you go through the journey of it. I'm supposed to be out there. That's just the reality. It's just to go and practice. I believe in that toughness. I believe in that mindset. I believe in, and everything's not going to always be perfect, but you have to be able to find ways to compete and to try to play at the highest level still, and try to battle and try to find ways. And I think, over the past 2 weeks, it's been a great journey. And just, I think also too, as well, as every day I just get better. And I work at it every day, every morning. It's around the clock. So it's been cool.
What does that mean? Are you still rehabbing a lot with it, or what?
Yeah, I always prehab anyway. It's just like I said. I'm constantly every day doing stuff. So now it's just part of my routines, part of my program. It's part of my system. And sometimes I'm like, see, can you go downstairs and, or hey, can you help me real fast? So, every once in a while I'll have Sierra help me, whatever it may be, but just, I'm constantly working on it, and so, that's just the dedication to the craft, what you want to do and how you want to be able to, dedicate to the game.
Do you expect the run game to be a bigger factor going forward, and what's your responsibility, or how can you influence that?
I think everything being a big part of the game. We need everything. We need all, the run game, the pass game. We need the third down, red zones to light it up. We need everything, and so we can do it. Like I said, I think that we want to be clicking on all cylinders, and I think that's our focus.
You said you know who you guys are. You mentioned some of the Colts stuff too. Is that final scoring drive against Arizona? That's a good example too, with the tempo, the one that ends with DJ scoring.
Yeah, I think that tempo was great. I think that was really efficient. We were up and down the field. That shows you that it's a really great defense. That great things can happen. The Colts have obviously been playing great all year since they played us for the most part, and so it's just one of those things that. Yeah, I think that we can do a lot of great things, and we got a lot of guys that can do great things. Like I said earlier, DJ Dallas stepping in the game and playing at the highest level was awesome to see. Really exciting. So we're excited about that.
Dwayne Brown from a leadership standpoint since he got here a few years ago?
Well, I think what Dwayne Brown has brought is one of the best tackles in the game. He's dominant over there. He faces, in my opinion, I think he faces the best guys in the National Football League week in and week out. I don't think anybody faces the amount of guys constantly that he has to face throughout the seasons and stuff like that. And so he's been doing it for years. I think this is his 14th year or whatever. Being excellent at what he does. I think the thing that he brings too, obviously, is as his athleticism, but is also his smarts of the game. He understands the game really well. He understands what we need to get to, this and that, and just he really gives you that confidence as a quarterback. Behind Big Dwayne Brown. I think the other thing too about him, he's one of the best leaders in terms of his dedication to the game. When you watch this guy, you come into the building, there's an aura around him. There's a confidence. There's an exuberance of just belief when he walks into the building, when he walks into the huddle, and so that's what you love about Dwayne Brown. I think the other thing that you love about him, is his dedication to his craft and just getting better every day. So many times I think that people get so obsessed and so blocked with everything else that's going on, but to be able to remain consistent in your approach, no matter how good things are, how bad things are, how tough things are, how injured you are, how hurt, or how life may happen, all of those things that happen in a player's career, to be able to remain consistent in his approach, consistent with everybody he approaches, not only his teammates, not only his coaches and everything else, but how he approaches the game, how he approaches the huddle, how he approaches the media, how he approaches, that consistency is pretty spectacular, and you know what you're going to get from him. And I think that you're getting a warrior in terms of his mindset, you're getting a warrior in terms of his ability, and you're getting a warrior as a friend too. And so that's what I love about Dwayne.
What makes Travis such a good pass protector?
Yeah, I think Travis Homer, he's so relentless in his pass protection. He's able to stone a guy, up early in the line of scrimmage. He doesn't matter if it's a defensive lineman, big linebacker, or DB. He's gonna smoke you. He's gonna hit you. So he's been so physical over the years, and he's been awesome on special teams too. He runs the ball well, catches it well. He's a very talented guy that can do a lot of different things.
You ever played on your birthday?
Yeah, I have actually. I think the one game I remember in particular was a Steelers game. I was dog sick. I think I may have told you guys about this game. I was dog sick. Yeah, it was a Monday night or Sunday night game. I can't remember. I think it was Sunday night football. Yeah, it was 2015. The season wasn't going well. Very similar to this. And I was so sick. I mean, I was throwing up in the bathroom. I was, what else? Everywhere. It was ugly. It was bad. And just I literally, the night before, like that morning, I woke up. The game was at like 5:30 or whatever. I woke up probably around 5:30 in the morning, and just I literally puked like 20 some times. It was crazy. It was just so bad. I had nothing left in me. So I had gotten 3 IVs, I think it was, before that game. Got 1 or 2 at halftime, and got 1 or 2. I think I got 1 after the game, and it was pretty bad. But it was a good game, so we won.
What did you eat before that? I gotta ask.
I don't remember. I don't remember what I ate, but it was definitely food poisoning. I got pretty sick.
Besides some of the stuff you've had to do to get your finger right this year, was that the most you've had to do physically to get ready for a game?
That was the most random oh no, this isn't good. You're walking around like uh-oh. Those were one of those moments. But I think that I've had some few things. Obviously kind of hurt my knee back in 2016, I think it was, where the guy kind of horse collared me. We were up in that game, and I was trying to get out of bounds. The guy horse collared me on the sideline, so that was a little tricky. Those next few weeks, but I've gone through some stuff.
There's some talk about needing to go 7-0, make a run here. Do you encourage that?
Yeah, I don't fear it. I mean, that's what it is. You got to win one game at a time, but that's got to be your mentality, And it's kind of you're kind of an early playoffs. It's kind of like you're March Madness, but you're in late November, December time. It's in a way you gotta win them. And so the guys who have the right mentality, the teams that have the right mentality with that approach, I think, that's what it is. So we don't shy away from the conversation. I know we stay focused on one moment at a time, but that's definitely a real thought process in our head. Hey, listen, let's go. So yeah, that's definitely been a part of a conversation.
I think aside from one that became a defensive pass interference against the Niners, Tyler doesn't have a 3rd down target from you since week 2. Well, how do you change that going forward? And does that fix some of the 3rd down stuff?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think sometimes teams double Tyler, and everything else. quite a bit. So sometimes the ball has to go somewhere else. But I think that we're always looking for Tyler. He's done a great job, So we'll stay focused on trying to keep getting our playmakers the ball.
One kind of last off-topic thing.
Mhm.
Did you ever see yourself changing hair every week like DK
Changing
does?
what?
Changing your hair every week like DK does?
I have kind of changed my hair every week, every once in a while. Long, then short, then this and that. But no, not dyeing my hair like DK. I'm not sure if I have as much style as he does. So I think he wins the style award.
Anything else, guys?
Thank you guys. Go Hawks.
Thank you.
Yep.